Ready for a deep dive into modern dating?
Always.
This time we are diving deep, deep into the Air Dating Advice subreddit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you sent this one over to me, and
Yeah.
I gotta say, some of these are pretty wild.
I can imagine. It's a treasure trove of anxieties, isn't it? I mean, it's just laid bare for everyone to see.
Oh yeah, it's like the car crash you can't look away from.
Yeah.
But also, like, we can all relate a little bit to, like,
Oh my God.
those awkward encounters and this,
You've been there.
Oh, totally. All right, should we just jump in?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, let's jump right in with this post titled, "Boyfriend of 1 year got super embarrassed of me ordering a filet mignon well done at dinner last night."
Okay.
So right off the bat,
Wow.
this is a big deal, apparently.
Strong reaction.
Yeah. So not only does he, like, kind of give her a hard time about it, but, like, makes a scene, apologizes to the waiter. It's like, come on.
It's a stake. Yeah. I mean, I think it brings up an interesting point, though, right? Because everybody has their little quirks and their preferences, but when do those become deal breakers? And is it ever okay to kind of impose your own, culinary standards on someone else?
Especially in such a public way. I mean, like...
A year in, I mean, really.
Right.
You should know this about her by now.
Okay, so this next one goes from, like, food faux pas to something a little bit heavier.
Oh, no.
Okay. The post is titled, "I got humped on the first date."
Oh, man.
And when she told him that it was uncomfortable, guess what his response was? "Want to cuddle on our next date."
Oh, my goodness. Talk about not reading the room or any of the signals. I mean, this is a classic example of how someone's version of, like, enthusiasm can just go way too far.
Yeah.
It really highlights the importance of consent and clear communication, and I feel like this is something that we know we talk about it a lot, but...
We need to talk about it more clearly, it sounds like.
Yeah, especially when it comes to physical intimacy.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there are varying paces that people go, and everyone's different, so it's really important to make sure that you're both comfortable every step of the way.
Absolutely. And sometimes these expectations can get really warped by, like, societal pressures and things we see online. This next post, "What's the deal with anal bleaching?"
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this poor woman is getting all this pressure from her partner because he has some interesting theories about,
Okay.
about why certain things are darker than others.
I mean, I guess it's good that he's... Well, no, it's not good. I was going to say it's good that he's concerned about it, but I'm not sure that's true either.
Yeah.
I think this just speaks to those unrealistic beauty standards that people put on, especially women.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, where is he getting this information, and why does he feel like he has any say in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's your business.
Yeah, it's your body, your choice, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so speaking of bad advice, let's move on to the classic friend zone dilemma.
Oh, always a fun one.
This post is titled, "I accidentally became one of her best friends."
Accidentally, okay.
So they've been talking for hours every day, really built this deep connection, and, he's catching feelings, but now he's not sure what to do because he's, like, stuck in this friend zone.
Right, and sometimes it's hard to backtrack, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you've established a certain dynamic.
Totally. And it's that thing of, like, you're afraid to ruin the friendship by
Saying something.
Yeah, by, like, "Oh, actually, I want to date you."
Yeah. It's that whole fear of rejection, I think, as well. But I do think that comes down to being upfront. I mean, even though it feels risky and it's very, very difficult sometimes to put yourself out there like that, but it really can save you a lot of heartache down the line. Because, I mean, imagine, 5 years down the line and you're still thinking, what if?
Right, and then you've wasted all this time and energy. Okay, this next one, I don't know, I feel like I might be overthinking this one, but I wanted to get your take on it.
Okay.
The post is titled, "Guy I'm dating didn't wish me happy birthday." Is that a red flag? I mean, what do you think?
Tricky one.
They've been dating for a month.
Okay.
They went on a date the day before her birthday. He gave her a gift.
Okay.
But, like, then radio silence on the actual day.
I mean, birthdays can be a big deal for some people, right?
Yeah.
So I get why that would be a little hurtful, or at least make you wonder. It's like, are you just not that into me?
Especially a month in, it's like you're still trying to figure out where you stand with someone.
Totally. You're looking for those little signs, those gestures.
So is it a case of, like, miscommunication, different expectations, or is this a legit red flag? What do you think?
It's really hard to say without knowing more about their communication styles. Some people are just not big on birthdays, Or maybe he's the type who prefers to go all out for like a month anniversary or something.
Yeah.
But honestly, If it bothered her that much, she should just talk to him about it.
Yeah, communication is key.
Always.
Right.
In any relationship, don't let those resentments fester.
Okay, totally agree. So let's move on from birthdays to a behavior that is guaranteed to cause drama, ghosting.
Oh, the classic disappearing act.
This next post is titled, Getting Ghosted is Way Worse Than Just Being Straightforward About Rejection.
And I can see where they're coming from, right?
Yeah.
Like, being ghosted just leaves you with so many unanswered questions. It can really mess with your head.
Totally. It's that lack of closure. You start wondering what you did wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas even if it's hard to hear, getting a clear, hey, it's not working out, at least allows you to move on.
It's about respect, right? Like you said, even if it's a difficult conversation to have, that direct communication is important.
Absolutely. It shows that you respect the other person enough to be honest with them. And honestly, it's not that hard to send a quick text like, hey, it was great meeting you, but I don't see this going anywhere. Done.
Right, rip off the Band-Aid. Okay, let's move from ghosting to another potential minefield of modern dating, social media.
Ah, yes, because dating wasn't complicated enough already.
Right. This post is titled, My M19 long-distance girlfriend, F18, has been snapping random guys after we decided not to snap random people. Is this as big of a deal or am I tweaking?
Long distance and social media. That's a volatile combination.
Because it's so easy to misinterpret things, right?
Totally. Like one person's harmless flirting is another person's red flag.
And in this case, it sounds like they had an explicit agreement not to snap other people.
Yeah. That does change things a bit. It's not just about perception anymore. It's about respecting the boundaries they set within the relationship.
Totally. And speaking of boundaries, this next post is a doozy. Get ready for it. It's titled GF24F called out her best friend's 24M name while in bed with me. 23M. I'm not sure how to feel.
Woof. That's a tough one. I mean, we've all accidentally called someone by the wrong name, but in that particular situation, not ideal.
Yeah, it's one thing to accidentally call your partner by your sibling's name, but like...
Your best friend.
Yeah.
That's next level.
And to make things even more complicated, she's super close with this best friend.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, they've known each other since college. She's always talking about him. Even suggested they all live together at one point.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's not going to help those feelings of insecurity.
So what do you do in that situation? I mean, how do you even bring that up without sounding crazy jealous?
Right. It's such a delicate balance.
Yeah.
On one hand, he has every right to feel a little shaken up by that and probably needs some reassurance. But on the other hand, making a big deal out of it could backfire.
Yeah, it's like, how do you even begin to unpack that?
Carefully. Honestly, I think the best approach is to just be honest about how it made him feel. Like, hey, I know it's probably nothing, but when you called me by best friend's name, it kind of threw me off. Can we talk about it?
Honesty and open communication. We're seeing a theme here.
It's the foundation of any healthy relationship.
Okay, true that. Now, this next post, it's like a classic dating scenario that I think a lot of people have experienced. It's titled, Girl Forgot to Meet Up With Me.
The dreaded disappearing act. Always a good time.
So they'd been texting all week. She seemed super keen. Even sent a picture of this elaborate dessert she made.
Oh, no.
And then, crickets.
Ouch. Yeah, that's rough.
So what's the deal? Was it a genuine mistake? A case of nerves? Or is this just a very elaborate way of saying, not interested?
It's impossible to know for sure, right? But I think this highlights the importance of managing your expectations, especially in the early stages of dating. It's so easy to get caught up in the excitement of it all, but sometimes people aren't always who they seem online.
Right, and actions speak louder than words.
Exactly. If someone is truly interested, they will make the effort. And if they don't, well, it's their loss.
Okay, preaching. Love it. Now, this next one really got me thinking about the whole matching energy thing in dating.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
The post is titled, Was I the asshole 'cause I didn't match her energy?
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So this guy has been texting this girl. They've been on a few dates, and she's clearly really into him, like going above and beyond, buying him gifts, even surprised him with a last-minute ticket to his show.
Wow, that's some next-level enthusiasm.
Right. But here's the thing. He's just not feeling it.
Oh, that's always a tough spot to be in.
I know. So now he feels like the bad guy because he's not reciprocating her energy.
It's that age-old dilemma. Do you follow your heart or try to force something that isn't there? And how do you let someone down gently when they're clearly so invested?
Right. And it's not like she's doing anything wrong. She's just expressing her feelings.
Exactly. It highlights the importance of compatibility, not just in terms of interest, but also in terms of communication styles and how you express affection.
And sometimes you're just not on the same wavelength, and that's okay.
Absolutely. It's better to acknowledge that early on than to drag it out and potentially hurt her more in the long run.
Okay, on that note, let's talk about a fear that I think a lot of us can relate to, the fear of ending up alone. This next post really got under my skin. It's titled, "I don't understand why no one wants me. Any advice?"
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, and it's so raw and vulnerable, you know? You can just feel the person's pain and confusion.
It's that feeling of rejection that can really eat away at you, isn't it?
Totally. And it makes you question everything about yourself.
Exactly. Like,
Like,
what's wrong with me? Why am I still single? And it could be especially hard when you feel like you're doing everything right, putting yourself out there, communicating clearly, but still not finding that connection.
right. It's like, am I invisible or something?
Yeah. I think it's important to remember that dating is a numbers game to a certain extent,
Yeah.
and sometimes it just comes down to timing and luck.
Easier said than done, but yeah.
Oh, for sure. But seriously, it's important to be kind to yourself during those moments of self-doubt. It's okay to feel down, but try not to let it define you.
Okay, so this next post is about a topic that always seems to spark debate. Pre-date phone calls.
Oh, the great phone call dilemma.
Right. To call or not to call.
Exactly. The post is titled, "She Wants a Phone Call Before the First Date," and it perfectly captures the anxiety around this whole ritual.
I mean, I get it. Like, a quick chat can help you get a feel for someone and avoid a potentially awkward date.
Totally. Just like a screening process, right? Make
Yeah.
sure you at least have some basic level of compatibility.
But then again, does it add unnecessary pressure? Like, now the date feels like even more of a big deal.
Oh, for sure. And it can also be hard to really get a sense of someone from a phone call.
Totally.
Mm,
Sometimes the vibe is just different in person.
exactly. So I think it comes down to personal preference. Some people swear by pre-date calls, while others would rather just rip off the Band-Aid and meet up in person.
As long as you're both on the same page, right?
Exactly. Communication is key.
Okay, let's talk about a phenomenon that seems to be everywhere these days. The dreaded situationship.
Oh, the ambiguity.
Right, it's like being stuck in relationship limbo. This next post is titled, "Am I in a situationship?" And it's a perfect example of how confusing things can get.
Okay, tell me more.
So this woman is involved with this guy who's all about exclusivity.
Okay, sounds promising.
Except he doesn't want to put a label on it. He doesn't want to call it a relationship.
Oh boy, red flag alert.
Right. And then, to make matters even more complicated, they ended up riding out a hurricane together.
Oh no, talk about a pressure
So
cooker.
now she's even more confused about where they stand.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
This goes back to what we were saying earlier about the importance of open and honest communication. If you're not clear about your intentions and expectations,
Yeah.
things can get messy real fast.
Preach. Okay, we're saving the wildest for last. Get ready for it. It's called Need Advice. Story below.
Okay,
Buckle up.
okay,
So this woman, she meets this guy online. They're hitting it off.
okay.
And then she does that thing you're not supposed to do, but we've all done.
Oh, the dreaded Instagram deep dive.
Exactly. She goes and checks out his profile
Huh.
and sees him liking other women's bikini pictures.
Oh, the classic.
I know, right? Like,
Yeah.
is that a deal breaker or not?
That's the million-dollar question these days, isn't it?
No.
I mean, on one hand, he's not technically doing anything wrong, right?
Right.
But I totally get why that would make her feel insecure.
Especially since they're just getting to know each other. Like, are you not that into me that you're out here thirsting over other women online?
Exactly. It's all about context and expectations.
And the thing is, she ends up blocking him, then unblocking him, then trying to talk about it. It's a whole thing.
Oh, boy. Yeah, once you go down that rabbit hole, it's hard to climb back out.
So after diving deep into the world of dating advice, what have we learned?
Well, for starters, dating in the age of social media and online interactions is a wild ride.
That's for sure.
But I think the biggest takeaway for me is that even though the technology has changed, the fundamental human experiences of love, longing, rejection, they remain the same. We're all just trying to navigate this crazy thing called love and connection. And sometimes we just need a little advice or sympathetic ear along the way.
So true. And maybe, just maybe, by sharing these stories and having these conversations, we can all learn from each other's experiences and feel a little less alone in the process.
Here's hoping.
On that note, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the wonderful, messy world of modern dating. Until next time.